Hello everybody, this is Mr. Munson. This video is to show you the first 6 constructions and how to do them. It is dedicated to Anastasia in my first period class who loves SpaghettiOs. Who can turn out a bowl of SpaghettiOs? I know I can't. Anyway, put the video on pause and go get a bowl of SpaghettiOs. When you're done, come back and restart the video when you're ready.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is we've already reviewed most of these in class, so I want you to go ahead and have your compass and your straight edge and your pencil ready for us to kind of whip through these, okay? So again, you should have this worksheet available in your hand right now. Before we get started, it was either given in class. If you don't have it, take a look at the description box down below the video, and there's a link there so you can print up a new one. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to be copying HY here. And normally, you have to come up with your own point and everything like that. But I've kind of already given you a location to put H prime. That just helps me with taking a look at your work and seeing if it's right. So typically you're given a segment like HY, and then I just say copy it. So the way you go about doing this is take your compass and you just stick it on the point H, open it up, and then you'll strike a little tattletale there. Shows your measurement. Come over to H prime. Since your compass was on H, you'd put it on H prime. Strike the same arc, same measurement. Now if you're using one of the compasses that has the circle and the holes in it, then you're going to use the same hole once again to get that same distance. Now it's just a matter of putting Y prime, which is the copy of it, anywhere you want. Anywhere along that green line is going to be fine, and then it's just connect the two. Let's do that. And, whoops, line this up. And there's our copy of HY. Let's go on to the next one. All right, next up is a perpendicular bisector. I like doing the perpendicular bisector. It has a lot of uses for us and some other problems. Basically, I'm going to find a distance between the pointed in my compass and my pencil. In case you're using the ruler looking thing with a circle, it's a distance from the center of that circle to well past halfway. So I have my compass opened up well over halfway, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine a line going through this thing halfway, and that will give me an idea of how my arc should be made. And just the more you do it, the better you'll get at this, okay? So knowing where that is, I'm just going to strike an arc about that. I could draw a full circle, but it just is a little bit unnecessary. So now I'm going to go over with that exact same setting or using the same hole, and I'm going to strike that same arc this direction, okay? And then my last step is just to simply take my ruler, line it up, rotate it down. Oops, I have it in the wrong place. Rotate it down. I'll line it up here. Oops. Line it up. Not very good fine movements here. I might have to just hand draw that. My ruler's being clumsy. So then I would take my straight edge and I would just simply draw a straight line down through here. And then I mark the perpendicular and that it bisects that. It makes that segment two congruent parts. Now this is a perpendicular bisector. So obviously if you had trouble with that, you would want to go back and fix it. We're going to use that on the next several drawings, so you have to have that one perfected before you move on. I'm going to do that one more time to show you a cleaner way. Instead of drawing that big football thing, I'm going to show you a cleaner way of doing it. Okay, so it's going to be essentially the same thing. I'm just going to be a little bit careful not to draw the big football, okay? So again, I have this imaginary line of where my arcs have to cross. So I'm going to keep that in mind when I go to draw my arc. So I know that I'm going to have to have an arc kind of down in this area here from this side. So I'm going to strike an arc there. I'm not going to do the full arc, and I'm just going to rotate around, and I'm going to do an arc up here. So I always say strike above and strike below, right? Then we'll go over to the other side and do the same hole or measurement. Gosh, this is good that this happened. See, if you look down at the bottom, I didn't quite make that first one long enough. So I'm not going to draw it with my pencil. I'm going to go back and fix it and do it properly. Okay. And I'll just extend it. Okay, so a little bit cleaner, a little bit neater. Now I can just simply draw my straight line. Now, again, my ruler is having trouble there to going straight up and down, so always use your ruler to get a straight line. Mine's just not working right electronically. Okay? Don't forget to draw in your right angle, and that is bisected. Okay, a lot cleaner than the one before. I'm going to use those same type of marks on the next couple of drawings. I'm not going to draw that big football. You just have to understand that's what I'm working on. Let's go on to the next one. All right, so this next one is the same kind of construction. It's just going to have one step added at the beginning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my compass, and then again, if you're using one with a circle, you got to know how to translate what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to mark on the segment some distance. It doesn't matter how much. I'm just going to mark over on this side that distance. And then I'm going to go to the other side and mark the same distance. So if you look at my drawing, that's what you should have. And basically what we find out, or what we've created, is that there's 2 points now on this line. Okay? We put our compass on that center one. Now we need to have our perpendicular go through that circle, or through that point on the line. So what we did is we created a segment that makes that the midpoint. So now it's just a matter of doing this construction we did before, and it's going to force the line to go through there. Okay? So now I have to open up my compass well over halfway. Okay? And then I'm just going to imagine where that halfway line is going to be, so that my arc will cross there, come up here and do the same arc. Now go to my other side. I'll strike the same arc, and then same arc. And what you want to do is start getting really used to being able to look at my arcs and telling where they came from. So, this arc right here is definitely part of a circle. Goes all the way around, and that's the center of it. Okay? So without me drawing that blue, you want to start getting used to being able to look at that blue, or look at that shape, and know that it's the center of some circle. Okay? Let's clean it up here a little bit. All right. So now it's just a matter of connecting the two lines, or points, I should say. Oh my goodness. And there I have it. And it should go through your point. If it doesn't go through the point, then you didn't create the correct perpendicular. Okay, so make sure it goes through the point. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, this next one is creating a perpendicular through a point not on the line. This one's kind of cool. You get to create like a smiley face, as I always call it. So what you do is you put your compass on the point that you want the line to eventually go through. And so then we're going to open it up. And what we need to do is make sure that when we strike an arc, it creates like a smiley face that touches the line that we need it to go through in two different places. So let's go ahead and strike that arc. You just find a hole or make your compass work so you get this little smiley face. And then we've just created 2 new points on our line. And now we're going to do the perpendicular bisector for that. So I do that by putting my compass on one of the points. And I imagine halfway in between, right? So halfway in between, so I'm just going to put my compass here so I can strike an arc below and above. And then I'm going to go to the other side, do the same thing, below and above. And now when I connect those two, it should go through that point. So as I line up my line, here we go. Wow. There we go. Nice and straight. And through the point. All that. Okay. Now this is kind of important. The 2 arcs that I struck above are really unnecessary because I could just use that point that's given to me, in this case, to be the second point, the point above. So I really only need to strike the 2 arcs below. So this is really what your construction should look like. Okay, so you could either erase them after you put those 2 extra ones above, or you can just remember you only have to strike below on this one. All right, next up to bat is copy an angle. So let's get this one going. So to copy an angle, we're given that angle H there. And so Typically you're not given anywhere to do it in particular. I've given you a place on your worksheet so that it's easy for me to find out what your work should look like, okay? So typically you'd go down, find a nice place, and you put down the point H prime. And then you draw a line, that's this right here, right? You just draw a line off in the direction. And then what we're going to do is take our compass and put it on H up here. And we're going to strike an arc. Now we can open it up to however much we want. We just, with practice, we start to get better and better of what these things should be looking like, what works for us. So I'm just going to strike this arc. And since I struck that arc from H, I always do whatever I do on one drawing, I do the other. So I'm going to go down here to H prime and do the exact same arc. I'm going to strike it bigger, only just so I don't have to go back and fix anything. That gives me a plenty of arc to work with. Next thing, I'm going to go over here to where the arc crossed the bottom. And I'm going to open up my, or adjust my compass to measure how much arc I need. Okay, so I need that much arc, and I'll transfer that down below. Before I do that, though, I'm going to strike what I call a tattletale. So it puts a little mark up here so that for me, as the reader, I can see you made a measurement, and I can tell where you made that measurement from. Since we made the measurement from the point where the arc crosses the bottom, we're going to come down here to the arc crosses the bottom. I'm going to strike that same arc. Alright, so everything in the other drawing is in this drawing now. So now all we got to do is draw. So let's see, let's get this to work. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this down to that point, and then I'm going to line it up with that place where it crosses, and let's draw that ray. There I have it. There's the two angles. One's a copy of another. I get to do this. Whoa, I get to do this with mine, but you couldn't. It's going to make the other piece move, isn't it? Never mind. I thought I could drag the angle down there, but lo and behold, those two angles are the same measurement. Let's move on to the next. All right, the next one is bisect an angle. So let's get this one under our belt. So bisect the angle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my compass down, and I'm essentially going to do like I did for bisecting a segment. I gotta get this rotated right. So what I'm going to do, similar to bisecting a segment, I'm going to take and I'm going to draw an arc all the way across my circle. Then I'm going to take and put my arc on one of the places that the arc crosses. Now usually I can keep the same setting as I used for striking that first arc, but if I have to adjust it because it doesn't fit on my paper or whatever, I can do that. But so it's gonna, if you can imagine, there's some imaginary line that's gonna come through here and cut this thing in half. And so I just need to make sure my two arcs that I'm gonna draw, one from this side, one from the other side, both meet in that area. Okay? So let's strike an arc, go to the other side, strike the same arc. I'm going to have to restrike the other one because I didn't quite make it long enough. That's no worries. That happens. Do that. Then we'll go back over here. It's no problem. This happens to the best of us. And... oops. There we are. And I'll just bring that down and strike it there. Okay? So now it's just a matter of taking my ruler and running a line through there. Right. So I'll put that right about there. Line it up. And as Madonna said, strike a pose. Strike a line in this case. Here's your angle bisector. Okay? Alright. So if you take a look down at the bottom, there is a bonus available. So you can do that one. You can go online and take a look at it. If you use a website or a video, make sure you note where you got that from. All right. Have a good one.